everyone, it's me, Cici, and I am burnt out from crochet. I know it's blasphemous, but I said it. I can't do this anymore. Well, that's kind of a lie. I can do it, but only if it's squares.
Like granny squares?
Nope, just squares.
What about like color
Nope,
work?
not even that. Just squares. And this has been kind of limiting my options a little bit because I feel like there's not a whole lot that you can do with squares, and a lot of the projects that I made before this have been primarily complex stitch work. Exhibit A. And as I've been trying to deal with this problem, I've realized this is actually probably something that a lot of beginners come across when they're first learning how to crochet. Like, okay, great, I can crochet a literal square now. What can I make?
What about a scarf?
Other than a scarf. So here's a short list of a couple of things that came to my mind when I was thinking of what I could make using literally just squares. And I know this has color work, but it's just in the corner. Nobody needs to know about that. Number 1, pillowcases. Now this is a pretty straightforward one to think up. You just crochet 2 squares that are the same size and then seam them together on the edges and you've got a pillowcase. It's super easy and there's a lot of customizability. Is that a word? There's a lot of ways that you can customize these pillowcases to suit your needs. You can use different kinds of yarn. You can use like ombre yarns. The pillow possibilities are truly endless. You know, while I'm sitting here undoing my color work, I did see somebody somewhere on the internet, I don't remember who or how they did it, but they like printed something onto their crochet using like a photo thing. And honestly, I'm thinking I might just do that because I can't do this anymore. Number 2, we have placemats. Now this one is going into rectangle territory, so I'm not sure how people are gonna handle like the rectangle versus the square debate, but placemats are another super easy one and something, if you love repetitive tasks, this is the one for you. You crank out a whole set of those and that just sounds like the most relaxing activity. I want to make placemats now. I don't have a dining room table, but I'm gonna find a use for placemats just so that I can make them. For this, I would definitely recommend using a cotton fabric versus an acrylic, just because you don't want it to like shrink or felt, so like don't use wool for this either. Like maybe bamboo if you want something a little bit more luxurious and silky feeling, but I would stick with cotton. Number 3, pot holders. That's actually what I'm making now, and rest in peace color work. This one is really similar to pot holders, except I wouldn't really use bamboo for this. I would definitely use a cotton or something a little bit thicker. I've also seen people use wool because it like keeps heat transfer to a minimum. I don't know the thermodynamics behind it, but it holds in the heat well so that you don't burn your little fingies. I'm going with cotton because that's what I have and it just feels better to me personally. Number 4, we have like the little bolero shrug things, you know, like the tops that only go up to here, but then they have like the really long sleeves. I feel like everybody at this point knows about the pattern by Amazingish Grace, and if you don't, let me let you in on this. Amazingish Grace is an incredible crocheter, and she came up with a project idea. Hers was mesh, but you could also just use a looser stitch or a thinner gauge yarn with a thicker gauge hook. And it's just 2 rectangles. That's it. Just rectangle for the front, rectangle for the back, seamed together at the shoulders and at the underarm, and that's it. It is such an elegantly simple design, and it's incredibly versatile and fantastic for beginners or people who just don't have the bandwidth to make anything other than squares right now. In a similar vein to that, number 5, we have this tank by Made in the Moment. They are known for their projects that will fit literally anyone of any gender, so this, I feel like, is another incredibly simple piece that can be made by anyone, for anyone. And again, it's just 2 squares. Their design was made of mesh, but you could also just do this with regular squares, and I feel like it would be good for fall time if you did it without any like mesh stuff. Maybe put a cute little collar on it. I'm trying to think of how it would work with the collar because like it wouldn't be like straight across, but you know what? I'm sure if you were creative, you could make it work. Regardless, you could just make it as a little tank top vest moment, even without the collar, and it would be super adorable. And that's it for all of the regular square patterns that I have on there, but I did... Oh wait, no. Number 6, if you are looking for something that's a little bit of a higher commitment project, we have blankets. I am never making a blanket again, but if you want to make a blanket, it's literally just a square. Good for you. That's all I've got for regular squares, but if you have advanced up to level 2, the granny square, or you actually have the bandwidth to do granny squares instead of me right now, I'm gonna get through this. I've got a couple of additional projects for all of you granny square lovers. First of all, you could probably make all of the projects that I just listed before, except for maybe pot holders. Granny squares have a lot of holes in them, and I just don't want you to burn your hands or your little fingies. So maybe hold off on that or anything that is supposed to be a little bit more rectangular, like the bolero, but I'm sure that you could do a baggier fit or a cropped fit for the tank top by Made in the Moment. Granny square pillow, do I actually have that? Hang on. So this pillow was actually passed down to me. I don't know who it was passed down from, but it was made by somebody in my family. I'm not sure how I feel about the colors, but this is just one way that you could expand upon the traditional granny square pillow. I also made this blanket back here entirely out of granny squares. It's a little janky. I still have not woven in all of the loose ends. Check out the Loose Ends podcast. I'm gonna finish it eventually. But the granny square possibilities are truly endless if that's what you're into. I do, however, have a couple extra ideas for all of you, and that is a bandana. This specifically is not a granny square bandana. I got it for Christmas, and I think that it's probably fast fashion if I had to guess. But if you take a look at it, it's basically just like triangles up at the top here and then squares to fill it all in. I've actually made one let me go and grab it. This one is the one that I made entirely out of granny squares and then just like top stitched it. Hello, could you focus? And then I top stitched it together and then just did a row of like single crochets and a chain on the back. Super easy, super cute. I love this thing to pieces. But you could also just make a triangle, and that could be a bandana in and of itself. And finally, we have the Granny Hexagon button-up shirt. Now, I did start one of these. I don't know if I really want it anymore, is the thing. This is the problem with crochet for me, is that the projects take way too long, and then by the time I'm actually done with it, I'm like, eh. But let me go and get the one half of the thing that I did do. Oh, this is actually really soft. I feel like this would be good for... Oh, no, am I gonna finish this? So this is half of it, and I feel like, honestly, it's like a little cropped button up. Oh, no. I'm gonna finish this. It's so hard for me to find button-up shirts that, like, actually fit my proportions because my torso is so short, but I'm, like, built a little bit more broad, and I want something that's, like, a little bit more masculine fitting, but, like, it's so hard to find. But this is literally just a hexagon. Like, you can see the start of the granny square is like right down there. And right now I just have it pinned together on the top, but oh my god, I'm gonna finish this. This is actually really cute! What have I done? I'll link the pattern for this down below. I don't know who originally did it, but I know that Amazing-ish Grace was one of the people who originally did it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to like it down below, comment to give me motivation to finish all of my works in progress, and subscribe to see more of my lovely face, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Goodbye!